What's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2006 Pontiac GTO. Up front is a 6.0 liter V8 and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now I'm super excited to be driving this here GTO for two reasons. First of all, this is the first time in my life I've ever had a mustache, and I feel as though this is a proper vehicle to introduce you guys to my mustache in, so hello. But the second reason, more important reason, is the fact that this car is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now that's important because I actually recently reviewed a GTO in this body style identical to this one a few months ago, very recently here on the channel. But that one was an automatic, and driving that car, I felt like something was missing. And so today we're gonna see if that manual transmission was the missing link I'm looking for. But before we get on with the rest of the video, if you are interested in helping out the channel, there are some links in the description below for some products that go towards helping the channel. There is a suction cup license plate from Con Plates. There is a fixed OBD2 Bluetooth sensor to help diagnose your car issues, and there is Cash for Cars that helps you sell your vehicle quickly. Again, if you'd like to help out the channel, please click the links in the description below. Let's get on with the video. So let's get back to that 6.0 liter V8 under the hood. It's an LS2, and I'll put the factory horsepower and torque up on the screen. I love the power that is delivered from this here V8. I think it's awesome. It makes a really solid amount of power. It's an LS from GM, and more importantly, it's an LS from Australia. Australia knows what they're doing, and this is an Australian car for those of you unaware. Really, truly under the skin, this is not a Pontiac. This is a Holden. Holden was its own company in Australia for a very long time, arguably the largest auto manufacturer to call Australia home. And actually now, as of 2021, GM has canceled Holden. They closed up shop. But Holden was a very Australian brand. And by Australian, I mean just fun, loud, brash machines. These things are an absolute hoot because Australians are an absolute hoot. And so while I've never been to Australia, driving this car, I kind of understand it. But now, we gotta talk about the 6-speed manual. I've driven this engine before, I've driven this chassis before, but I haven't driven this transmission before. What do I think? Well, it's very typical of this genre of car, meaning Corvette, Camaro, Mustang, Challenger, Charger. The shifter is big and clunky. Yes, it goes right into gear, but it doesn't feel like it does it with any sort of mathematics. It does it by just brute force. It's not very exact, it's pretty numb, but it gets the job done. The clutch is a little heavy. However, this is an aftermarket LS7 clutch in the car, so take that with a grain of salt, or really a bucket. The actual driving experience is pretty decent. I'm in third gear doing 20 miles an hour, and the engine is so torquey that it doesn't care. And as a cherry on top, I really feel like I'm a part of this car. I get to change gears. I get to be at the true helm of that 6-liter V8, where with the automatic, it does it for you, you know? It's like owning an easel, a canvas, and some paint, but having someone else paint the painting for you. I don't want that. I want to do it myself, and that's why I love this manual transmission. It's numb and dumb, but it's fun. Last but not least, of course, the GTO is rear-wheel drive. Now we gotta talk about the interior. We'll run through the interior pretty quick. Again, I just reviewed one of these, so please go check out that video for a little bit more of an in-depth tour of the interior. But in front of me, I have 4 red gauges. On the left is my coolant temperature, then I have my tachometer, speedometer on the right, and fuel at the far right. Now this gauge cluster has something fun. It was actually reprogrammed to show the Holden startup screen, so here you go. Underneath the gauge cluster, I have my fuel door to the left. Then over to the right, I have a mode and set button for that little screen in the gauge cluster. On the steering wheel on the left, I have my mode and next buttons, and on the right, I have my mute and volume buttons. Very simple. However, the steering wheel itself is very large, very 2000s, and very ugly in my opinion. I really dislike the steering wheel, but that's just GM for the era. To the left of me, I have my headlight switches, and on the door, I just have my power mirrors. Power windows will be found on the center console when we talk about that later. In the center, I have 2 climate control vents, and my climate controls themselves. AC is blowing nice and cold today. And then, of course, I have an aftermarket radio because most radios from the 2000s were pretty garbage. I do have a little cubby with a little stuffed goat in it because I'm driving a goat. And then we have to talk about the shifter. Like I said, it's big, numb, lazy. However, I think it looks presentable and it looks sporty. Has the red leather stitch shift boot, you know, it has these nice accents to it. It's very presentable, it looks very good, but like I said, functionality-wise, it's a spoon in a bowl of honey. Then coming on to the center console, I have my window switches to the left, traction control and central locking, and then I have a cup holder. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the GTO, and it fails just like the other one I just reviewed fails. Nothing new here, but still sad I can't bring my bottle along. Now we gotta talk about the seats. The seats are not factory to this car. You could get these red leather seats, but this particular one didn't come with it. So the regular seats have been reskinned. I think they look very good. I love the red interior accents, especially on the door cards and with the gauge cluster. And the seats are actually pretty comfortable. Like I always say, I'm a big guy, and finding sporty seats I actually fit in, it's not the easiest task in the world, but I actually fit in these quite well. I did do a backseat and trunk review with the last GTO I did, so here is that review now. First of all, I get really nice airflow back here. I just noticed that I have 2 vents, but honestly, if the driver gave me a little bit of room, it's honestly not bad. These seats are very comfortable, and it is a 2+2. There is no center seat back here, and these bucket seats are as sporty as the front seats. They look like almost mirror identicals of the front seats, which is great. Really, really sporty, and honestly, my head is hitting the ceiling, yeah, but this is a lot better than like Mustangs and Camaros and stuff. It's not amazing, it's not good, and I wouldn't want to sit back here for more than a little bit, but that being said, for a muscle car, if you call this a muscle car, for a muscle car, this is really, really good, for a 2-door especially. Let's go take a quick look at the trunk, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the 05 GTO, trunk popper on the key. When I first reviewed the GTO, I complained about the lack of trunk space, and I originally thought that was because it had larger, comfier back seats, but from the comment section I learned that this is actually because the fuel tank is in between the rear seats and the trunk, so you do have a lack of rear space, which is a little bit disheartening, but it's not because of the rear seats, it's actually because of the gas tank. Now we gotta talk about the looks. Now, a couple of things about this particular GTO. As you'll see, the purple accents, that's actually plum crazy purple from Dodge or Mopar, which is a very iconic paint color from them. And the rear wing is actually off of a 2012 Nissan GTR. And it's not even paint matched, and it looks good. It just naturally matches the color, which is nice. But now let's get to my final thoughts here on the GTO with the 6-speed manual. Well, I think this is a much, much better car than the automatic, at least for me and at least for my purposes. When I drive a car like this, I want to be the one doing the shifting. These cars are all about bravado. They're all about toughness and muscle and flexing and getting in your face. This car will send a cheeseburger back to the kitchen if it has onions when no onions were requested. And so when I'm shifting gears, nah, bring it back. The manual transmission makes this car infinitely better. It really, really does. And again, like I said with the last GTO, this just makes me kind of sad, knowing that Holden is no more. That we're not going to see a GTO like this anytime soon, if ever again. I think these cars are going to become really, really collectible in the future. These cars are going to go up in value, and I understand why. They're fun, and they're the last of a breed. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Michael for letting me take out his GTO. His Instagram is down in the description below. This actually marks the first ever car that I've ever reviewed based off of someone I met on TikTok. So my TikTok, as well as his, can be found in the description below as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.